4 elite commandos stood laughing, certain they had humiliated the army sergeant by taking her weapon. 79 seconds later, they were all on the ground, stunned, defeated, and wondering what just happened. They'd stripped her of her rifle and sidearm, leaving nothing but empty holsters and a smirk on each of their faces. To them, she was no threat, just another soldier to toy with before the exercise began. But Rachel Keene had been underestimated before, and she knew how to turn humiliation into a weapon of her own. The morning heat at Fort Wexler carried the tang of jet fuel and sun-baked asphalt. Rachel stepped off the shuttle, boots hitting the cracked pavement as her eyes scanned the base. Guard towers, training zones, exit routes, every detail filed away. She moved like someone who had learned long ago that survival was in the details. Her years in service had taken her to places where silence was the only safety and hesitation could get you killed. She had lost people, friends, comrades, some to the battlefield, others to the quiet wars no one spoke about. Those losses had carved a certain stillness into her, the kind that looked like calm but was built from steel. Inside the armory, 4 Navy commandos lounged behind the counter. Their leader, Lieutenant Kane, greeted her with a thin smile and an insult disguised as a joke. His men, Ricks, Daniels, and Vega, laughed on cue, their confidence sharp-edged and careless. The taunts rolled off her. She'd heard worse in far more dangerous places. She signed for her weapon, checked it with quiet precision, and prepared for the day's joint exercise. Then Kane suggested it. Strip her weapons. Let's see how she handles herself unarmed. The room went still. The major hesitated, but eventually nodded. And just like that, the match was set. 1 unarmed Army sergeant against 4 armed Navy commandos. The warehouse was a maze of plywood walls and narrow corridors. Spectators crowded the observation deck, whispers rippling through the air. The big whistle blew. The team surged forward. Rachel didn't follow. She moved parallel to them, using shadows and blind spots, letting their confidence do half her work. Vega was the first mistake. He turned a corner without checking his rear. A twist. A grip. A controlled drop. He was on the floor, his rifle in her hands. 32 seconds. Rick spun at the sound, but she was already in motion, sweeping his legs and pinning him with precise, practiced force. 45 seconds. Kane tried to face her head-on, but the narrow hall trapped his weapon. She stepped, inside his guard, hooked his ankle, and drove him into the wall. 62 seconds. Daniels came fast, brute force in motion. She let his momentum work against him, pivoted, and sent him to the ground with his own weight. Sidearm in her hand, aimed center mass. 79 seconds. Silence blanketed the warehouse. 4 commandos lay scattered across the floor, breathing hard, their arrogance shattered. Rachel returned the borrowed weapons without a word, her face unreadable. A slow clap broke the air. Colonel Abrams descended from the deck, his voice carrying across the room. Good to have you back, Sergeant. This base needs more instructors, like you. The name he used, her old call sign, made every head turn. Falcon. The commandos straightened, the weight of what they'd just learned settling in. She didn't gloat. She didn't smile. She simply walked out, boots steady on the concrete, leaving the echo of 79 seconds behind her. Sometimes the loudest statement is made in silence. Sometimes the most dangerous person in the room is the one you've already dismissed. And for those 4 men, that was a lesson they wouldn't forget.